It's better there and get man. But I have two favorites. Yeah. Really?
Yeah, and you can go for snack time. Yeah. We're so time and letting off.
I didn't realize it. It's really, yeah, it's, gosh, missed. It's like, wow, no, it didn't. Thank you very much.
It's us. I wish I saw my more.
And started walking away and I felt really dizzy all of a sudden, like.
Oh, yeah. I love the Twin Cities.
But,
Just for
yeah,
the state of the
they have been for
which is a nonprofit think tank. Sorry.
She wants so much here.
Yeah, in terms of the wealthy citizens, and the history. You know, in spite of winter.
Because it's. Focus shop, right? Right.
Yeah, sleds and then.
Last week was awesome.
So, that was like,
They just. I grew up in North St. Paul. Oh, yeah. It was a different attitude.
Things on there.
Where did we pay from? That's true. Usually I have two.
Corvette. They're ever present everywhere.
We gotta slow down.
Well, yeah, that one winter. It's a yearly. It's a year.
So how many place you can start?
We don't waste as much time. No. From southeast.
And this.
And some
3.1
roads. Is stays
100.
Right. Yeah. I think that would change structure. If you're sitting with the salary, doesn't it's fine. So
It's not so much. I got it in.
Well,
Worse.
especially
Unbelievable.
yeah, especially in the hills. Well, up on your names.
I think that's really that thing of. Thank you. I'm nervous. It sucked the energy out. To a degree.
I haven't looked up, it's just signs is what.
It's a specific intersection. She was talking.
Yeah, she was talking about how, I thought it was just a business there that we would figure out the signs to work.
Yeah.
Oh, no, the intersection is just much bigger.
But I'll pull up that email, I'll write it down. I gotta go down that direction anyway later today, so. That one I never. Usually.
You never know which one is out.
I remember the email and I was just, I had my head signed and not with.
Well, it's past 9:30. All those that so choose, please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order with everyone present. As a reminder, the meeting is being recorded. If you choose not to be recorded, you have the option of leaving. First item on the agenda, Mike Kueny, our county engineer. All yours, Mike.
It was a very busy week last week. Bill grant, nothing new this week. Subdivision data, nothing really new this week. Some discussion on that happened recently. Discussion. Quarry Hill, nothing new this week. I have to get a new MOU out. There's been some changes in prices, that have been discussed internally. I'll incorporate those and send that out, hopefully either today or first thing tomorrow. Bridge 307, the bottom layer of deck steel reinforcement's been put on. I sent a picture out. The report's longer than normally is, so I didn't want to include it. So I sent it to your email. Bridge crew, it's great. Yeah. The bridge crew on W42, the culverts, they got pipe 8 was assembled. The new pipe is coming today. Backfill on pipe 8 and compaction is going to happen as soon as we get dry conditions. 350th Street concrete patching did not occur last week. We're looking at getting started this week. Rock resurfacing was out of Ridgeway and Ridgeway and Hindleville, a little bit of Fort last week. Bridge 107 superstructure, that's nothing new this week. Locust shop will operate the Durapatcher this week. That's in preparation for W40 Autoseal. Shop had discussions with, there's nothing new to report on that mulching head. Still awaiting another quote from Cat Friends. New equipment operator 1 starts tomorrow. As of tomorrow, we will be fully staffed. All engineering interns have started last week on Thursday. I had a couple of you at the 6 county meeting. Not a whole lot discussed on the engineers portion. A little bit was discussed about the speed limit being 60 miles per hour. The Service Bureau has said before we make any decisions that they're going to have a discussion at that. So I'm going to look at having those discussions on the golf course this week at the nice meeting at O'Neill Golf Club. So
If I understand that correctly, it's gonna be for all paved roads.
all paved roads.
So that means we have to foot the bill for the speed limit signs.
Yeah, so one of the things that came up out of that is Iowa Prison Industries have stickers at $4.80 per sticker that we should be able to just stick on the existing signs. So that's one thing that's nice about this. The real issue, there's 2 issues: curvy roads. We don't, so for like Ben and Old Stage and then W14 are the 2 roads where we are so curvy. I think I'm just going to create a engineering study showing safety data and keep it at 55.
It really ain't a stretch to get going. I mean,
There's no,
really ain't a stretch to go.
there isn't a stretch
Or
until
they
you
go
get out
50.
east
Yeah.
on Old Stage.
Maybe go 55.
Oh, we can ask Ben, is there a stretch?
There's a stretch when you get down the curvy hill before you turn on my gravel road, where it's easy to get going too fast, and then it's curvy again till
Speed
mile past the Glenwood Church, basically, because there's
Yeah.
like two 90-degree,
Yeah.
double 90-degree curves, and then it goes straight into Maaten.
So if you do a study determined for safety sakes. then-
That's the idea. I'm gonna make sure that the
I mean, most of
other
the
county
curves,
engineers are thinking that's an okay thing to do, but I'm gonna be pretty steadfast on my assessment on that. The other
Most of-
problem is vertical curves up and down. The striping for passing lanes, that hasn't been assessed, and that the way that has been done,
That could
the
change.
way that has been done in the past is field work, and that's
most of the curves on Old Stage are marked with yellow,
Chevrons.
well, and yellow warnings with suggested speeds.
yeah, the suggested speeds of, 35 and 45 are
Yeah.
all over
All
Old
over
Stage.
Stage.
And then 25 and 35 on W14, so.
But I mean, that's kind of questionable, that you might have a curve that was okay at 55 that isn't okay at 60, so should you now have a curve warning?
I'll be spending some time this week, trying to envelope those line curves. But
I would think it would be hard to enforce the 55 if you actually gave a speed limit if the state passed this bill without a really in-depth
yeah, I don't know how,
study saying it should be 55.
I don't know how in depth it's gonna be because there's just so much road. I think I'm gonna appeal to, common sense, if you will, where we don't want to have, quarter-mile sections of 60 and then reduce it to 50. And I'm just gonna appeal to that in my,
And a lot of them aren't marked. I mean, there is a 55
That is a
sign
problem.
leaving Freeport, but that's
The
more to tell people where the 30 ends, because it's 30 through the trailer park area.
Yeah.
so to Ben's point, this might mean that we end up ordering 55-mile-per-hour signs beyond just the 60-mile-per-hour signs.
Yeah, because you take W14 on the new section we paved, there's very, very little that you would
Just the
maybe
first stretch out of Ridgeway.
Ridgeway down to the first curve there by the cemetery.
Other
That'd be
than
the
that,
only,
you
other than
can't.
that, there's nothing really.
Again, this is, I'm pretty steadfast in my belief that that's the best way to go forward, but I don't want to be the only engineer going this route. Winneshiek, up in here in the Northeast, we're gonna have more of those kinds of roads, so we're kind of special, so I'll be talking to Nick
Yeah,
and
Clayton County is probably.
Nick and Casey and Brian Ridnour and Joel. And then probably Dubuque County, but Dubuque County, they have an interim, I believe, still. So I'm not sure he's gonna be on board with that just because of his
This
status.
change, then on a curve changes the slope angle when you go to 60. Slightly. Does it increase the slope angle on the bank curve?
They would, so usually you have your super elevations on those bank curves. Those are usually just kind of standard and then after you don't really grade those out to achieve the speed. I'll say usually. Usually you just have a standard, one and then adjust your
Speed
speed
limit.
accordingly.
So far, they're not changing that as far as what you're getting for regulations from the state.
No, they wouldn't be doing anything structural and that would be even more expensive to do something like that. So,
You having that meeting this week?
that nice meeting, yes, I'm having that. So I'm gonna bring in the road foreman as part of the workforce development that the state wants. They want to bring in more than just the county engineers so that the techs and everybody else are seeing the same things that the engineers are. It's not just passed down from up top. So I'm bringing, along those lines, I'm bringing our road foreman.
Well, maybe we'll know more.
I'm really waiting for, his name's Lyle Breen, to set up probably a Teams meeting throughout the whole state. Before I go, I'll say final with my decision, but yeah, that'll definitely be brought up. Lyle will be at the tournament, and yeah. So the Scoop's in Austin again this week. I went and visited Locust Shop on Thursday. Good conversation with the assistant foreman there. The sign request for children to play has been received from the city of Jackson. I'll be looking at that intersection from the email today when I'm down looking at 295th and the railroad crossing.
What is the policy and who pays for that?
If it's on county roads, it's either because it's a municipality of Jackson, they could be them, but we've typically been pretty generous with these less than 500 person population towns. If it's on an FM extension, that's well within our purview. So
We did have that. They wanted that up there by top of the hill, but
they wanted the deaf child. I'm using the same approach on this, where I'm having the board direct me to put the signs in, so that I'm not just a single arbiter of which signs go in, but so look for more information on that to come in the next week or so.
there was talk of who pays for it or splitting the cost.
Yeah,
For God's sakes, this is one that's in a private subdivision. This is a public road, and a public entity asked if we could.
so
And if you enforced the city of Jackson had to pay for all the signs that are in their city limits, that would be a lot of signs. Because their city limits take up, their city limits take up more, as much area as Decorah's city limits.
Ben's great at bringing up great points, so
He's gotta be careful where he's.
Jackson's the second largest city in Winneshiek County by area.
By area.
And the smallest of the populations.
I mean, there's probably hundreds of stop signs and warning signs and speed limit signs and so on in that city that are on county roads.
Conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, that could be.
Actually, if you want a little history of that, the ag land that's in the city limits of Jackson Junction many years pays less tax than the ag land outside of the city limits, because their city levy is lower than our rural levy. So they end up they don't want to unincorporate it because their taxes will go up. That isn't every year. It used to be all the time that way. Now, our rural levy's gone up, a little bit over the last 10 years, and it's similar, but there are still years where they pay less taxes because they're in the city limits than they would if.
We'd also talked at that time about, at what point we remove it if there are children living in the neighborhood. Not just there, but
Yeah.
all around the county you drive, and it's like, well, I wonder if that's even applicable anymore. So.
No, I'll look into it, and I received it in the middle of the week last week, so I'm gonna be headed down there for a meeting. I have that on this here as well. So next item is a roadside program. See, Decorah has a roadside program. Today I'll be meeting with the city to see what equipment can be shared at around 2 p.m. today. The other item I have is the CPKC and Iowa DOT are looking to meet at the 295th and the railroad intersection to see what safety grant you might be able to get to improve that intersection. If you remember, there was a big accident that happened there. What, was it 2 years ago? So,
By Jackson?
so I'll have that meeting. Next item, the CHBP grant was submitted on Friday. I submitted applications for Bridge 164, Bridge 59, Bridge 400A, and Bridge 67. Dust control continues to be to proceed. We have 202 total dust control applications. One of the things that we talked about in the engineers portion of the 6-county meeting was whether or not charge fees for the application. No one charges fees. Fayette County does charge a late fee if they don't get their applications on time. So I don't know if that's a board approved policy. I guess off the cuff, would we be interested in charging a late fee? I think it's $25 is what Fayette County charges for a late fee on dust control. Nominal fee to, because it's pain. Maybe think about that.
It's a pain to process the applications.
It's it's a pain to process all of the applications, but especially when it's late, because then everybody has all their dust controls ready to go, and then right before we're about ready to resurface the road or regrade the road or whatever it is that's going on for the dust control, we get another application. Well, then we have to go and check it and make sure it's smooth and everything else. And that may or may not happen as dust controls are being applied.
And
So
$25 in no way covers the extra headache, but it might encourage people to get them in on time. Yeah.
yes, exactly. So that might be a request for a policy change coming up next week or the following week. As I vet that out a little bit.
I mean, at this point, that they're already late for this year, so.
We're still getting application. I took one, was it Thursday or Friday
Right,
for
but
the phone?
It's too late for them to avoid the late fee by getting it in on time, so it might be something you put in place.
For next year.
Like
Oh,
over the winter, so that next spring people get them in on time.
yep. But
Is actually 25 enough to deter them? I mean, if they see a $50, they're going, oh, yeah,
25
let's not
is chump
forget that.
change.
Yeah,
I'd be happy to work with everyone on that, but that's the idea here, is to kind of stop the chaos and the.
You know, and that's when all the advertisements are on the radio and everything else, reminding people to get there. That you have that $50 late fee on there, I think it would gain a lot of attention, so.
on the dust control, Michael, I was looking at that test spot that you put in out there on Conover Road by the crossing for the Prairie Farmer Trail. It looks like it's working, but we might not have extended it out far enough.
We did one load.
Yeah, that's what it was, because I can see, I was watching some traffic go by in the dust clouds and so forth and see where it was breaking. I think it'll be effective if we
Scale it up.
a little further with.
Yeah, I agree, and I think just seeing that, and then also now that Dust Busters has stopped using lignin sulfate, we're seeing a very similar performance out of the magnesium chloride. They're very similar, calcium and magnesium. And my first reading on that is that, well, not ideal, you could still mix the two and have that chloride effectively work. But that's my rock program that I was anticipating using on the ice control rock with the calcium chloride. And where we've had a lot of mag chloride, I might be a little bit hesitant to put this calcium chloride down. So I have to look into that a little bit more. So I'll keep you up to date on that. W40A14 Otisfield project. is projected to start on June 22nd. We still have to get asphalt patches on the culvert for that road, so pray for good weather, please. Spillville paving project, got an email from the mayor of Spillville. Bid came in high, 36% overbid. The line items that Spillville will have to pay for are higher, relatively speaking. The idea here is that I will, on behalf of Spillville, reject all bids on that letting. I'll find out more tomorrow night when I go to the meeting at Spillville. So,
How much higher did you say?
36% was the whole project.
That's,
And the cost to Spillville, the line items, the way they worked out would be, because we use the center 22.
Yep.
The line items outside the center 22 were especially high. So that's just kind of one of the bids that didn't work out in our favor. We've had fairly good luck relative to some other counties on our bids. This one was not that way. So and as far as that's concerned, as far as that's concerned, that's the engineer's report. Do you have anything for me?
The 14 north.
That's the week.
Turn it to gravel.
We wish that.
That's a long,
Turn it to
take a
gravel.
couple miles and just turn it to gravel, see what happens.
What was the outcome with the city of Washington on metal versus concrete culvert?
The city of Austin is willing to pay for it. We haven't talked beyond how that's gonna work, and I have some discussion, I think, with Austin at the end.
we decided to go with the culvert.
So
Either concrete culvert.
concrete over,
It's gonna be there for a while, go long term.
Well, in my case, I think 20 years would be enough. It wouldn't be my problem, but
yeah, somebody else's problem, and then
it's a long-term solution.
Yep, it is.
it's a long-term solution, and even in the near term. There's just less shifting of the pipe, which would then be felt in the road. I mean, it's gonna be it's concrete is just once it's installed, it's a nicer pipe.
Right now, the city we don't know exactly how we're gonna pay for it, if we can come up with the funding to pay for it all right away.
Yeah.
Or put it over that 3-year procedure like you do for the city, so. We're looking into that a little bit more, and then we'll determine.
The other ace in the hole is how far south we go with that project. We want to go into the city limits to some extent, but getting into the curb and gutter areas, and this is what I want to talk to you about, makes for a higher price, so. Unit price bid, so. Have that conversation, we haven't nailed down exactly where we want to go on that yet, so. Yeah. There's lots in the air, up in the air on that still.
Want to have anything else for Mike? I'll stop in after the meeting. then.
Yep. And we'll talk about Freeport, and then we can talk about the auction too, so. Yep. Thank you.
Next up, Miscellaneous CSB space discussion.
Steve asked for this last week when they were looking at CSB, so.
Does anybody have any information on the lease rates and getting that stuff back to all to the current tenants?
Here is. Well, Spectrum is at like $450 a square foot right now.
Per year.
Per year, yeah.
They got like 5,716 square feet regular, 950 in the common, so that's 35% of the building they have. They paid 2,000 lots, 24, and roughly. Last year, I think the total building expense was 77,307 approximately, so.
They pay about a third of the building.
I mean, that's not even,
Not a quarter.
yeah. That's not dealing with anything else either, that's just.
It's not replacing anything.
Yeah, that's not doing any.
Cause there's
One more
what,
page.
12, is there 12 furnaces in there, I think, and how many air conditioning, and they're all the same age, so.
I see
One of these days,
It's gonna really.
one healthy bill pop up.
we used to have
Yeah.
door closer for $3,000 down there, so.
Yeah, I never even knew about that, yeah.
It must have been one of the handicapped.
Almost 3,500.
Well, by the time you,
Yeah.
Yeah. To my,
It's- It seemed like when they were here that they were willing, but that was, 9 months ago,
Yeah.
last fall.
supposed to get.
They were
together
willing
with
to
them and they're just keep.
Talk about not a significant, but some way to build an increase in their annual amount.
Without having to review it every
Yeah,
year.
We went and bought the building, they'd be paying probably
Twice that.
$12, $13, they'd be.
2 to 3 times.
3 times
Three
that,
times what they are.
which, I mean, that's
Cause they had,
huge.
well, that other tenant, they had a smaller lease amount from AAA aging that was in there.
But, yeah, I mean, if we went to bought the building, they'd been out, so.
I have a question. Have we gotten all the tenants around one table with a couple board of supervisor members to go over this and update it and have the discussion yet?
About what?
Well,
we had them individually here. The tenants came
I'm
here.
just wondering if this warrants a updated discussion, because I know that a couple of the tenants that I know of are willing to pay more. They'd rather not be kicked out if that's what we're looking at.
well, I didn't think we were kicking
We
anyone
can
out.
kick
We just
public
want
health
to
right at the moment,
adjust the
When we-
rate.
unless we move public health down there, then they're probably one entity that would. Yeah,
So my question remains, have we gotten them together so that we can all look at the same plans and same rates and have that discussion to see where could we increase some
Well,
rent?
where does this board want to go? Do we just want to set a flat rate for all the square footage in the building and that's what we charge? Instead of adjusted rates, well,
because
we, this
everybody,
entity pays this rate, this one pays this rate, and this one pays the highest
we
rate.
had,
Really isn't fair.
one reason
Well,
that,
one has
like the
one.
food pantry raised their own is because we can't zone off electric use on. So they use a lot more electricity, knowing that they increased their own rent, so probably more than what others would want.
Yeah, right on that.
So you'd have to have
for, they have about 3 months.
graduated.
What is fair market rent on a similar space in?
Well, we pay $9.25 to
For
north,
the-
for the
See it.
northeast side of community action. And we have no janitors.
Right.
Yeah,
And then, and what do we charge, what's CS on the CSBs? What's the charge for HHS in there?
There's no HHS charge.
I know don't we allocate a space charge in that for the other counties?
Not a space charge. We allocate expenses.
Expenses on.
yeah, we got,
We're required to furnish some space.
we got furniture
Unless we
built.
don't move.
Oh, yeah, but we still have to put them someplace.
We
We
got
have to have
furniture built.
space.
Or they can move to another county.
Well, yeah, if you want to send them to a different county, but I think each county still has their own portion. People that they gotta put somewhere.
Yeah, all other counties do have a little satellite.
Yeah.
Satellite offices
Yeah.
that they got for like one person.
And I haven't looked at this now for a while, but I think it's around $13 that the food company pays. It's like $4.50 that the, no, that Spectrum pays, and then it's like $2 something that Toys go per square foot.
And the percentage of the building that's being occupied by HHS is about 28.
20, yes.
And they're 20, Well, it's the amount they actually occupy, but then they pay for share of the common space.
Yeah.
So we probably somebody needs to meet with them.
I don't know about getting all of the separate entities, because why is it food pantry's business what Spectrum pays, or Spectrum's business what?
Because I know,
I'd say though, but you should meet with each of the entities as a board or as a committee.
It's all part of the public record. Anyway.
Of two, if you meet with Spectrum to talk about something, that isn't a public meeting.
But what they're paying is public.
Yes, but how your negotiations get there may not be. I mean,
and then should also meet them with Toys Go Round.
yeah, I think,
I think the
I,
pantry probably is where.
is it fair to the entities to put them together in one room? We're working with them individually. We aren't
Yeah.
really making them compete amongst themselves for who's paying the best, most share. I mean, is that fair?
But they know anyway.
What
They know
can though,
anyway.
if they get
So,
into it, yeah.
If you would like me to meet with Toys Ground with another board member, I'm happy to do that. I'm tired of us having these discussions here without really doing the homework first. We keep talking about it, but then we don't have the meetings. So I just think we
And
need
they
to
were
move forward.
here.
and be quiet.
When they were here, they said, yes, we'll meet amongst our board and come back with a proposal.
It was 9 months ago.
But that was last fall.
So
So we need to initiate another contact.
there you go.
Ask
Well, no, that was
Whether it's the
their
whole,
responsibility to get back to us at that time.
yeah, I don't know. That's why I think it keeps getting brought up, is we're still waiting for them to get back to us.
Well,
So either we initiate, see if we get them to the board meeting again, or a couple of you meet with them or something.
Maybe the people who are liaison with those entities could have conversations with them to remind them we're waiting on your proposal. Instead of just
Which includes
wait.
fair market rate that we paid Smith Building as a as a benchmark that they need to look at,
Yeah.
Well,
as
if
at
we
least
determine-
consider.
If we determine an amount what we think is fair, we'll send them that and say, this is what we're intending to charge. If you're okay with it, fine. If not, come back to us to negotiate. I think
I would
get
say
a
we're
lot
open.
more action that way if you send them your proposed increase.
I would just say we'd like to talk with you, we're open to negotiation, but we're paying. And have.
I think it's really the two entities,
Yeah.
Spectrum and, not food, I mean, food pantry's okay.
Toys.
Going around the Spectrum are the two that were still involved.
Yeah.
So those are the two you need to contact.
Who will do that?
I'd be happy to contact.
I would,
You want to go with
No,
me to Toys Go Round?
do you want them to come here? Should we just go meet with them?
I prefer them come here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just ask.
Ask them, get them on the agenda
You
again.
want to just-
I'll do that.
In a public meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. On. Andy Vandermont, county attorney. Morning, Andy. Good morning. Have anything for us this morning?
Kind of a heads up, maybe. So back up, we had a software package that we used for getting law enforcement reports into our document management system and then shared with defense counsel and criminal work. And got to looking at that and working with sheriff's office and PD. I think we're gonna do away with that software, so there's about a $10,000 savings for our office, which for us is kind of significant. Now, I'm telling you that, so I can also tell you, don't get your hopes up, because I'm gonna go ahead and take part of that money and use it for TV and owls, some things that are going to be needed in the conference room when we move. So I'm trying to cover this over a couple of budget years. So when this comes through for a claim here next week or whenever it is, just so you have a little bit of a heads up of why this is out there and it's higher than maybe normal.
We still have owls from.
You'd have to ask.
We have a TV probably.
These have been ordered, sorry.
Well,
But there's updated versions on the owls and there's I put in orders.
okay.
2 weeks will be the last time session for this year, so that's when you see it.
Well, and part of it, I've got county collections, our office gets 5% of anything over our threshold of 50,000. And that is a use it or lose it, so it's around 3,700 and that went toward some of this. And there were a couple of printers that were gonna be needed because they're gonna need some standalone envelope printers, that type of thing, so it's not just TVs and novels, but there's some equipment. Like I said, we're trying to do what we can to get things in order for whoever comes in.
Didn't get closed on the property.
We did not because they're still dealing with DOT and what I talked to their attorney last week and told them that, look, we're coming up on the end of the fiscal year. We want this closed and the money in the account by June 30th. DOT is aware of that and is supposed to be getting the person who's on vacation up to speed on this. So they're doing an agreement for this that mirrors what we had for the 2080. So I don't see an issue with it other than getting it to the right person for a signature. Which I guess I do see an issue with it. Anything else?
You got any input on this next agenda item? Or contract wise or anything like that?
Depending on the cost, you may need to bid it. Or have you?
Well, no, what I was looking at is.
So the idea is that it's a private investor that's going to do it, and then there'll be some kind of agreement where we get a share of the off of our cover electric use. But John will give us more information in a minute. The county isn't actually paying to install it.
So who owns it?
That's what we're trying to get everything that's about.
The investor.
So if there's an investor owns it, do we have to have a contract for the length of this agreement? All these.
I would think the length and who, how you're dividing any revenue from it, how you're.
It's all in there.
I haven't seen the contract, I guess, so.
We haven't signed a contract for it yet.
Do you have a draft of something that
I have a spare copy that I can give you today.
You wanna wait?
I would say, let me take a look at that one after you have it, and then we can decide if there are additional questions or.
Do you have it right now? Give Andy a copy. You can just scan through it quick. We got 5 minutes.
Consent agenda?
It's not,
There's 2 documents. One is
minutes, the claims, got a fireworks permit application for Harvest Farm Campground and the recorder's monthly report.
Approve this consent agenda.
Just a second.
You got the second?
I'll second it, but then I have a discussion item.
Okay. Motion and second, is there further discussion?
Yes,
Decent.
what's our policy on, do we provide drinking water machines in the courthouse?
Water
Like
machine.
a,
Not that I'm aware of.
like a HHS rents from Culligan and bottled water.
Oh, no, we don't do that. They used to do that out there because they didn't trust the water from the well, but I didn't know
I
they
see
were
we're doing it down here. It's, I
Oh.
mean, we're paying $20 a month. Buy a machine for $150. And then we're paying $71 for water. There's a break room there that they could get us rid of, I guess, if they wanted to. But I mean, it's, if you take that on average, $90, I mean, it's $1,000 a year. paying Water, freaking water.
So I think one of you could probably talk to them and see if that's still needed. I mean, if they were used to that out there because of it being a well, maybe they haven't considered the fact that they wouldn't maybe need it.
City water is safe and.
They've got,
City-
we have a break room that has running city water. And I don't know why that's something we should be paying if we're not buying for.
Yeah, we have a
Other
water
people.
cooler on the first floor in the courthouse.
We have a dispenser, like,
Dispenser.
yeah,
But it's
dispenses
Yeah.
city water.
That's our policy. That could be,
So it'd be different
Basically,
if they
it's
didn't have a,
policy.
so it wasn't a break room, right? They could fill. Drinking water. So I mean, I think that's $1,000 a year we could potentially not pay.
Problem with that. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign, passes unanimously.
committee report.
You wanna have any committee reports? You got landfill tonight at 5, out at the landfill.
The recycling center,
And the fire.
is the solid waste at recycling center?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And are 3 of you going? At
Yes.
least 3 of you? Okay, I just want to make sure.
No.
Tomorrow, we're canvassing the election at 9:30 right here. We're upstairs.
Right here, and
Right
the
here.
3 of you are gonna be,
And tomorrow night is a P and Z meeting at 7 PM. And those are available for the public to attend.
There's several items on there.
Well, one of the items is they'll be discussing language. They're just starting the process of discussing language about data centers. So they'll be meeting here at 7 tomorrow night.
Northeast Iowa Workforce Development Board's on Thursday regarding their one-stop operator contracts, just an approval process.
Had another Hawk preparation meeting and then I sat in an early child ECI meeting with the state and they had, ours was a discussion being absorbed by a consortium of counties south of us, which is a positive thing. It's just this language entanglement and questions from the state board, which I don't think should be a problem. I think one person is just overreacting to, could somebody handle it when a lot of Hawk has been parsed out in different agencies now. So I think there'll be plenty of capacity for this agency to take it on. So I think it'll happen. It's just, it's slow, painful process to have to go through.
Northeast Iowa Behavioral Health will be forming a search committee now to, it's an exciting journey the next few months to find a new executive director for behavioral health. That'll be a national search.
Next item on the agenda, 10:50, John Nielsen, Novak Electric, come on up.
Okay, he's got a copy of it.
If you move over and have it set so they can hear him.
It's like a little bit too.
Yeah, face sideways so that everybody can hear you.
So the next step, so we have an investor lined up, applied for grants. The next steps, review the PPA and the lease agreement. There are 2 separate documents. You typically meet with 1 board member So it's kind of weird to meet with everybody at once, because it is a document that basically I meet with the chair. And you guys work with your county attorney. If he wants to tweak some language in it, we can. But that's what these two documents are. I have a copy for each of you to have. The next step is to approve the documents and sign that. And then the next step after that is to get stuff submitted to Alliant to start getting the process to get approved. With the intention of still be on the roof by the end of the year. I'm ready to go. The way this works, you have an investor that owns the system. They have all the risk and liability. They sell power to you at a discounted rate, and then that's your savings. You get credit from Alliant for everything it produces. So if they make 1,000 kilowatts that month, credit comes to Alliant that you either didn't buy power or anything overproduced. You get a net metering credit.
Has there been a structural study done on
It's in
this?
process. So not to that point yet. We're in the beginning.
It's got a couple roof issues up there that just with the tenant talking around, it's gonna be an annual problem to get at, so we gotta make sure we can still get at them 2 spots to.
We're at us.
I'm not, Chuck was saying, we have just that metal and caulking just don't work together. I mean,
I think it's
contracts and freezes, hot. It's gonna be a kind of an annual maintenance thing every year to get at them 2 spots, so that's.
Is that more in the southeast corner of the building?
One's southeast and one's in the central area there.
Where you go to that storage garage, where it goes back and meets the building right up in there.
So we can look at where those are, and if there's a way to shift panels or whatever, make sure there's access or. Okay. Chuck. This first one, you guys, like I said, I brought a copy for everybody. That is the PPA. Like I said, it is, but it's basically in there is the warning that you buy the power at a discounted rate, and they're going to bill you on a monthly basis. Just like Alliant would, so you basically will have 2 bills moving forward, because you're always going to have, no matter, even on months when you overproduce, there's a small fee from Alliant, like $18 to $20 you're going to have every month. Then you're going to have a bill from the investor once a month, pay for what the solar produced. So that's how this will work out.
On the amount of savings that would be per month, for like $1,000 or
We're
something.
roughly 8 to 10 a year. So,
What kind of time frame are we locking ourselves into on this?
it's a
What would be if we decide 2 years down the road, we decide to change or sell the building?
sell solar with it, and whoever takes over the PPA.
Transferable.
Yeah. It's
But what if the entity buying the building doesn't want the solar on there? Then what? Are we still bound to this contract? We gotta pay, say if we met it for 2, we gotta pay out an 8-year payout.
everything that happens. I couldn't tell you how we deal
I
with
mean,
that.
that's a big clause that we gotta.
I would assume it'd be
Oh.
transferable.
Look at that in here. I mean, I don't know what the contract calls for. It's
Right now, it's a
25
25-year.
project.
It's like, got 5 minutes.
Well, I kind of figured that.
Now it's 25.
It's a 25-year agreement with the option for you guys or Root Bank to start buying it out after 7 years. At the end of 25 years, if you haven't purchased it by then, it just goes on a yearly contract until it's been redone. I can tell you that I've done this 14 years. I have several sites that when they get closer to that point, 15, 20 years, it's gonna be negotiated to hand the system over because the investor doesn't want to keep it forever. It's just not the way it is. Having somebody sell the building, I don't think I've ever ran into that scenario before, so that's good.
Cause I mean, that building's 20-some years old and the roof is, I mean, you're talking under, yeah, it's, yeah, it's,
We need to know options before we sign dotted line.
Especially since you'd be tying some, not you guys, some future people sitting here 20 years from now, what might be, what will happen. I might still be here, but then you guys probably will not be here in 20 years.
If one were to remove the system, there's clips or clamps that to the standing seam, so that really wouldn't have holes in the roof.
Other than the penetration for the wiring, no.
What's the snow load, what snow gets on them, who's left out, they had snow out of recycling, didn't they, on them there for this last?
Well, they have snow sit on them. It's not a steep roof, so it's not gonna drop in. Like a wood on a higher pitch.
Yeah.
The snow load is, or the square pound per foot is about 3.5, 4 feet, or 4 pounds per square. So it's not a huge
That
amount.
study's being done now, structural integrity.
We did almost in it.
Maybe just going on the south slope or both, just the south slope.
Okay.
The other document I'll give you guys to have, so you have it, is the lease agreement. There's the separate documents. Pass it around. And so, I mean, at this point, typically what we would ask the board to do is to approve Dan to be able to negotiate and work through the document. If you want to come back, we can, but at this point, usually what I do is I work with Dan and Andy, and if there's some tweaking, Andy says, hey, we need this wording in here, something's misspelled, whatever it is, we kind of go through that process, and in a matter of a couple of weeks, we can have it hashed out and ready to go.
Louis, we'll give Andy the time to go
Look
through
at
it.
it. You'll email a copy to me as
Yeah,
well.
when I get back to the office today, I'll send it to you.
That's fine.
I've got these.
Okay. Anyone have any other questions for Don? Thank you, for coming.
So like say if there is, I suppose it's in the contract or whatever, tornado or something, hits it, ruins the whole.
So they have to insure the system.
So
It's in there that they can request for you guys to get a price for the insurance as well, and they reimburse you. What we found in the last few years, a lot of times it's cheaper for the end user to insure it on the building than it is for an investor. And then they just write you a check once a year for what that premium is. They still have a liability policy for damage. But either you or them cover the cost of the replacement cost of the panels, and they just reimburse you for that.
Have you experienced?
I can tell you that we just had a huge hailstorm system come through Elma about 2 months ago now. They had 5-inch hail. I had panels outside Elma you could literally put your hand through. All my years of doing it, never seen that. But that entire, I had 4 systems inside the city limits of Elma that were owned by the investors but insured by the city, and the insurance didn't have any issue.
So was that a project that you were involved with? I think what I heard, that was a significant damage to most all of the panels.
Was almost, some of them were over 50%. Just depending on where they were, where that system hit.
And those are all in series, so one goes out, the field goes out.
On roof mount, they're not. On a ground mount, they can. It didn't matter. Every one of those systems was shut down because it exposed wires inside the panels. So yeah, it was good, wicked. Never seen anything like it in all my years. And so prior to that, we put in 600 systems, 70, 80,000 panels. I've only had 2 panels get damaged by 8 in 14. So that
Quite a
storm, till that storm, and that one took out 200 and some panels in 12 different sites. So it just back to whether you get a 5-inch hail, you get anything. I mean, I have pictures of carload shields that look like somebody threw a bowling ball at it. I mean, something like that, or you get a tornado come through, there's nothing you can do. So they're rated to take golf ball size hail at 75 miles an hour.
Owner of that restaurant where we had the meeting, the 6-county meeting, was saying that he had neighbors that were saying that were west of him, that there was 5 inches of hail on the roads. Drive.
It was pretty wicked. So, thanks, guys.
Okay, question. So after we were going over
Right.
the square, the area that Jackson Junction in. How big it is,
Yeah,
where does their tax money go? What do they have for expenses?
I mean, they have very low tax rates. They have very little city road because it's the state highway and county roads that are most of their roads are either county roads, highways, so they're covered by the county or the state. I mean, they still have administrative expenses and they have park and those kinds of things, insurance on their city building. You know, they have to pay for elections and they have system elections, that kind of thing. That Jackson Junction is one of the few cities that if it unincorporated would actually be beneficial for the county because you could start getting rural tax money on all of that farmland that's right now that the non-farmland in the city pays significantly more because that's taxed different. So it gets the $4 or $5, whatever it is per thousand for commercial and residential property. So that's more than the rural residents would pay. But the farmland portion isn't. That's actually less than what they would. So
Unincorporated, it would definitely be beneficial.
to the county it would be because
We incur any more cost if that happened.
minimal. I mean, there would be you'd have some liability because just like Frankville Water and Posanga Sewer, you have to set up a board to maintain that water and sewer system that they use in the farms aren't by the city water and food, but they do have, I think, some combined city waters right in like near the school and so on. And so, you'd have to have that as kind of a liability, just like if it's like you're the funder, you're the owner of the Frankville water system, even though they pay for it with their water rates. So
Well,
there'd be some things like that that would have to get worked out, but
I was thinking of what my city had on, because just looking at the city of Washington,
it would
we
be,
get our taxes within the city of Washington. We spend 48,000 for a culvert that's right on the edge of town. But in Jackson, we put all the signs up, take care of all the roads. As a county, we don't receive any funding back for all those costs there.
on the Highway 24, you see the sign that says Jackson Junction where it starts, just after you cross the southern border of Winneshiek County. On any of the other gravel roads and other roads in the area, you don't have any idea you're driving the city of Jackson Junction because it's so huge.
Food for thought.
So,
Does anyone have anything else for today's meeting? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second for adjournment. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Whole spend.
Unanimous.
Does veterans have enough in their budget for all of their annual break?
Thanks, guys.
the plaques they put on the,
So that's all the cemetery costs.
oh, you mean the payments to the cemeteries for veterans? That's not in the veterans budget.
That's not,
Oh, that's something you guys just pay.
that's just part of it.
But you raised that rate.
Yeah, I think it's so much.
It's so much per grade.
Yeah, we got a lot of money this year.
Because they update their list each year and there's never any fewer graves.
No.
Right? You only increase the graves. And then you guys added $1 or something per grave rate.
It should increase
last
someday.
time, so.
It should go down someday. If you look at population statistics.
For the number of graves.
Because you don't dig somebody up.
You don't need so.
I thought you were talking about new grade.
No, the number of graves. You're always just adding.
Yes, got it.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about new.
No, I'm saying
Gotcha.
that those will always exist.
Yeah.
So you just keep adding each year. Maybe you aren't adding as many now. You always are. So. So, yeah. And you did up it. I mean, it was like I don't remember, it's $3 per grade, and with the $4.
It changed.
Yeah, long time, so.
Fatima, it's just me in here now with Ben. Thank you.